Hi, and welcome to my 2020 COVID-19 gardening tour. I wasn't really planning on doing a tour this year, but I decided that I was going to go ahead and do one anyway. Well, 2020 has been a year of deep contemplation and reevaluation for me personally. I was reflecting a bit on, the process of building this garden, and I realized that really this garden has done more to change me than really me just changing my lawn into an edible landscape. I started thinking a lot as the quarantine started and there was a run on food stores and the shelves were being cleared off. I thought to myself, the goal of this system is to transform all living nature into market commodities, specifically our food supply. And we become very dependent on that. Often our food is more manufactured than grown. It resembles food, but it lacks nutritional content, and it's grown in soil conditions with inputs that have terrible effects on human, animal health, and also on the planet. Essentially we've become dependent on a system that sells us food that often doesn't meet our nutritional requirements and makes us sick. So what we can do to address that is, we can do more to grow and eat locally and use organic inputs. And we don't even need to use animal inputs to have successful gardens. This garden, I've never talked about it, but it's essentially, this is a vegan garden. I don't use any animal inputs to build the soil microbiology. I use green waste compost, which is, food scraps, leaves, grass clippings, and all those kinds of organic inputs. And you can see, it doesn't seem to me like you require any kind of manures or animal inputs. Not that using manure is a bad thing, it's not. But it doesn't seem that you even require animal inputs in order to grow successful food or healthy food. So this plant's gotten a bit big. This is my contorted mulberry tree. It's a really nice day out here today. We're supposed to get a tropical storm tomorrow. So yeah, my COVID-19 takeaway is if we take care of the planet, it will take care of us. Not only by providing us nutritious food, but through, just the stress reducing effects of horticultural therapy, which include eco-mindfulness. There's a lot of research being done on stress-induced illnesses, things that affect us both psychologically and physiologically. And stress is going to be, by 2020, the World Health Organization says that 7 out of 10 people living in cities will be dying due to the fact that they live in such stressful environments with light and noise pollution, with oppressive buildings, lack of root zones to grow inside of cities. So more needs to be done to transform our cities, because by 2050, 90% of the world's population is going to be living inside of cities. And we've become very dependent on this system. As you can see, we took down the yurt this year because we're putting up a smaller one. Just taking a tour. I didn't have time to trellis these tomatoes, so I espaliered them on this cattle fencing here. This year I was concerned that I wasn't going to have enough calorie dense crops, so I grew a ton of potatoes in this bed, and I just took the potatoes out of this bed. Just taking the tour here. I think I am going to grab an apple. This is a pristine apple, and the name almost doesn't do it justice. This is a yellow apple. And I'm not going to chew on camera, but it's going to be very hard not to eat this apple. So if you're thinking about growing an apple, grow a pristine apple. You will not be disappointed. This is a Josta Berry. I would recommend growing Josta berries. You will get early fruit in June. It's a combination of a grape, a currant. They're just incredible. They're big berries. They're in the gooseberry family, I believe, and they're just fantastic. You could see along this 50-foot trellis, I'm growing all kinds of. There's golden raspberries on the other side. I'm growing squash and tomatoes. This apple tree has yet to bear fruit. I believe that's a Gravenstein. This is a sour cherry tree. And I don't know if the skeleton is doing much to keep away the birds, but I'd like to think that he is. You know, this is just a great place to come out and sit and to relax and to decompress. And it doesn't matter how large of a space you have. This is a quarter of an acre at most. You know, get outside and stop trying to race the clock. Just sit, just be for a little while. It can be really hard. There's so many demands put on these days in terms of work and priorities and responsibilities, but we gotta just remember to stop and smell the roses, like they used to say, and really has tremendous benefits for our health. If we could just learn to let go and be less willful, to be more open, to think about our relationship with nature, and to give to nature instead of take from nature. You know, when agribusiness grows food, they don't think about building soil fertility. They think about profit margins. And they use petroleum-based NPKs and pesticides and herbicides and all kinds of things that are destroying the land, destroying the soil. So I can't imagine the native people who inhabited this planet or inhabited this continent would be very pleased with what we've done to it. Planted a lot of in-ground fig trees this year. They're just all over the place. That's a Ronde de Bordeaux. If you're going to grow figs in the Northeast, you need humid, tolerant varieties. Varieties that are short season and early. Those varieties are the Mount Etna types, as they call them, Mount Etna types of figs. Danny's Delight, Hardy Chicago, Norella. These are amazing figs. MBVS, the LSU figs do well in humidity. Not all are short season. These are more in-ground figs. I think I see an oh wow, there's actually an Amazon truck on the other side of the fence. I think the Amazon truck is like the symbol of this COVID epidemic is gonna go down as a picture of an Amazon truck. So yeah, the world is feeling pretty strange right now. People are pretty angry. Everybody has their opinions about a path forward, but really the path forward has to be the one that's best for people, not for the profits of, major transnational corporations. They don't have an interest. Well, they have an interest in maximizing profits for shareholders, but that's what they do. That's what they're designed to do. We're designed to interact with nature, with agriculture, to depend on each other. If everybody grew, Patrick Dolan says, 1 yard revolution, you can change the world 1 yard at a time. And that's really true. If my community started growing, if everybody had a garden like this, we wouldn't be panicking during a pandemic as you're ordering beans off of Amazon. Civilization is it's a very thin veneer, and those with the ability to purchase their way out of these crises, they may end up okay, but ultimately they're going to run out of food too. Verona castrum loves bees. That beautiful plant, candle-like structure. The bees go crazy on this. I don't even know what kind of bees these are. I'm seeing different kind of bees all the time now. A lot of Echinacea and coneflowers. I'm going to do a lap around really quick because there's a 4-in-1 apple. I'm just going to pan around the garden real fast. And it's not very hard to do something like this. You plant a vegetable garden in the middle of your plot, your lawn, and around it you grow fruit trees. You know, it's a traditional English cottage garden. You can think of it like that. You don't have to have extensive knowledge of gardening. Use the lasagna gardening methods. Charles Dowding and everybody on YouTube, Patrick Dolan, John Kohler, you can learn everything how to do this. I mean, I grew up in a city. It was all sand and concrete. I never grew a single plant in my life up until 2012, so it's 2020. So I haven't been at this for very long. It's certainly not rocket science. I like to say that the only thing that's rocket science is rocket science. It's just going to be mindful not to film my neighbors' homes because I can't imagine they'd appreciate that. I just have some grasses. It's a black lace elderberry. This is their front yard garden. It's gotten a little overgrown, but it looks pretty good. This is a contorted filbert coming up to the front of the house. Carl Forester grasses. If you're looking for a tall grass that stands upright and is beautiful, I look no further than Carl Forester. That is your grass. I'm just going to be mindful not to film other people's homes. And as you can see here, along this fence line, we have all potted figs. I have some grasses that I have to move here. And all these figs are early. They resist humidity and splitting. Well, they're early to mid-season. They're not all early. And coming around here, you can see there's more figs. That's my Peter's honey from the first video. Managed to make its way into the back. So I'm going to expand this front yard garden in the coming years. I have some service berries up here, and beautiful trees, and I wish they grew faster than they did. But I think I'm going to plant some in this area. I have this as from all the wood chips that have been dropped over the years. This area is completely wood chipped. This was a lawn. The great thing about turning your garden, your lawn into something useful and edible is that you don't have to mow the grass. You know, listening to the sound of the mowers. I must mow now for maybe 10-15 minutes where I used to have to mow this thing for about an hour. It was kind of a waste of time.